Good evening everyone. Welcome to this demonstration, and training session. To you on YouTube who are watching, thanks for joining us. So this is your new board, right? This is the Allen&Heath Qu-32. Qu refers to the series 32, obviously it's 32 channels. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are just going to think a little bit about the differences between analog and digital. So tell me some things that are the same and some things that are different. So let's start with things that are the same. What can you see that's the same?
Fader.
Right, so we got faders, good. Alright, what else? Got knobs, yeah?
The groups.
Okay, good. So you're looking at the legend here, right? Okay, yeah, so you have groups, very good. Anything else?
Channels.
Yeah, channels, alright? And those of you who saw the back of the mixer, what was the same?
Power button.
Right, so you got a power button. You also have, what about the inputs, outputs? Right? Okay, so the back of the mixer looks very much like a analog mixer. The only difference is that you have some strange network connectors. You have a connector named AES out, and you have a couple of Cat5 network connectors. Alright, now, what's different?
The screen there.
Okay, there's a screen, very important. What else?
There's all these mix buttons.
Right, so you've got all of these buttons with LEDs on them, and whereas with the analog mixer you would have knobs for the mixers, right, the aux masters. On this one you don't. What else?
All the EQ is grouped together.
That's right. Okay, so there's only one set of EQ controls. Right now with a digital mixer, you'll notice that there are relatively few knobs. Okay, there is just this small cluster of knobs. With an analog mixer, you have one knob for every control on every channel. So with an analog mixer, every control has only a single function. Every channel has a gain, every channel has EQ, every channel has aux sense. With a digital mixer, in general, you have one set of controls and then you apply them to whatever input or output you want. So with the digital mixer, you have to get used to the idea that controls have more than one function. For example, you have a master fader. This master fader can be the master for any output. So it can be the left-right master, can be the output master for aux1, aux2, whatever. Similarly, the faders, they can be channel faders, they can also be used for sending to the various groups or auxes. Okay, so if you look here, can you see what extra button there is? Right, so mute you all know, okay? Notice it's no longer PFL, it's now PAFL, and that basically means pre or after fade listen. Very good. There's this SEL. Now this doesn't refer to a type of Mercedes, it's select. And it's something that you have to remember, okay? When you use a digital mixer, you gotta select what you want to work with before you manipulate the controls. And eventually you'll make the mistake where you start EQing and you realize, oh crap, I forgot to select the channel, and you're EQing some totally different other thing. So you're trying to put more bass on the singer and you're actually EQing the hi-hat or something. Alright, the other thing, of course, you'll notice over here, you have a USB input and you have copy, paste and reset, which you don't see on an analog board. There's also this big open space here. Anyone knows what that is?
Put iPad.
Right, it's for an iPad, okay? So this mixer features full wireless control, and with a router you can control this mixer from an iPad from anywhere in the venue, right? Which is great because it means you can mix from anywhere, you can mix from outside, you can mix from the toilet, you can walk on stage during the sound check to stand next to the artist who you're sound checking. So it's a bit of a learning curve, but you guys being what they call digital natives, it shouldn't be an issue lah. The on-off switch for the mixer is on the back, alright, and it's next to where the power cable plugs in. So I'll switch it on, right, and if you watch here, you'll see that there's a short boot up sequence. With this mixer, it boots real quick, okay? With some of the others, you'll actually see something similar to like a computer. And obviously the mixer will boot up to the last previous whatever state you left it in. So whatever it was in when you shut it down, it will boot up to that. This is called the super strip. Now that is not something that you get in a red light district, okay? Basically, it's a channel strip, but the reason it's super is that it can be applied to any input and most outputs. So this can actually be used to EQ your output as well as your input. So you can EQ your main left right, you can EQ your aux sends, so on and so forth. Going from left to right, you have gain. Alright, now you'll notice that the gain, it has a little button there saying USB. This mixer has 32 local inputs, meaning things on the back that you can plug in. It has 3 stereo, and then it has the capability to take USB input. There's one here and there's a B-type connector behind. And it has what's called a D-snake connection, right? Meaning that you have a separate stage box which you have also purchased, which connects to this using Cat5, and so you have to choose what input you want. HPF, what is that? Anyone? High pass filter, correct. Okay, so you have a sweepable high pass filter. Choose what frequency you want. Then you have 4 bands of fully parametric EQ. Low frequency, low mid, and high. And you'll see that each of these, you have gain, plus minus, you have frequency, which is what frequency you want, and then at the top you have bandwidth. So do you want just a very narrow boost or cut, or do you want a wider one? Gate, we will explain subsequently. Basically, it's if you don't want, when the sound drops below a certain level, it gets shut off. Compressor, you have GEQ is graphic EQ. This is only on the outputs. And then you have pan, right? Left, right. Then we have your touch screen. Right now, the interesting thing about your touch screen, if I just select my channel 20, I'm practicing reading upside down. I've got a mic plugged into channel 20. Now, with the screen is touch, okay? So you can see that here, when you have a channel selected, it's divided into roughly 4 sections. This is like the basics. Then you have a gate section, you have an EQ section, and you have a compressor section. And we'll go into this in detail after this. Then you have copy, paste, and reset buttons. This is used for copying settings between channels. So you can copy and paste any channel to any channel. Then on this side, these refer to what you see on the screen, as does the function button. Over here, right, you have your 3rd stereo input, USB, and then your normal headphones. There's also an alternative out, which is basically for recording. Right? The idea is you plug in your studio monitors there. This talk button, what do you think that is for? When you press it, the mixer talks, right? On the back of the mixer, there is a dedicated talkback channel. And what this is it allows you to speak to any of the mixer outputs. So like say you're at front of house, you want to talk to aux1. You program aux1 here, and then you just press and hold, and you just talk. Right? And then when you release, it cuts off. So they can't hear you complaining about how crappy their playing is. But that means that you can have a talkback mic without using up one of the input channels. Fader strips. Okay, now with the fader strips, you have to understand that each fader has more than one function. Now can you see here, it says layer. So this mixer has 3 layers. It has what we call the channel layer. You can see the amber lights are lit. When you press here, it goes through to what we call the master layer, and you can see the faders are motorized. Okay? I know the first time I saw one of those, I was like, oh my god, it's like best thing since sliced bread. So basically, what this layer here is all of your master outputs. So you can see that you have your effects returns, groups, this is your effect sends, your mix masters, which are the same as your aux masters, and then you have DCA, which is digitally controlled amplifier, which we'll explain future. Okay, so once again, you have to know which layer you are on. Because just now I was adjusting channel 20. If I change layers and then I forget and I start adjusting what I think is channel 20, I'm actually adjusting mix 4 master. So you have to be aware of what you are adjusting, and you just think select and then adjust. Now the master fader, right, as you can see, this master is the master not only for here, but it's the master for any of these. Okay, so if we go back to this and I bring this up, okay, you can see that, say I select mix 1, this now becomes the master for mix 1. So if I move this, the corresponding mix 1 master moves as well because they're connected. Okay? If I select mix 4, the corresponding one moves. I know it's like magic, isn't it? Okay? So you have to remember, alright, that you gotta tell the mixer what you want the control to do before you start adjusting. Otherwise, you will end up adjusting all kinds of weird stuff. So we'll go back to that and we'll go back to our channel there. Here you have what are called soft keys. Okay, soft keys are you program what you want. Right now it's set up such that the first 4 are mute groups. You can program whatever you want into it. Okay, so it can be mutes, it can be a certain automation sequence. Just think of these as macro keys. Okay, for those of you who are into IT. So that's covered. It's a very quick run through of the control surface itself. Now I'm going to show you just basic operations and then we'll get to trying. So the setup is we have a 58 that's plugged into 20. I just chose 20 because it's center so that you can see what I'm doing. And then you have left and right is connected to this amplifier and it's plugged into the 2 speakers just so that you can hear what we're doing. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we select the source correctly. So can you see where it says source here? You see the word source? Yeah. And that basically this function button controls what is here. So if you press source, this is where you tell the mixer, what do I want to control with this channel? Do I want to control my local input? Do I want to control you can see what it says here, alright? D-snake is the digital snake and USB is this USB connector, right? So you can see that if I select a different channel, it jumps to that. So we'll go back to 20, press source. Now I touch that and if I change to D-snake, then the input behind gets turned off. So by default, everything is set to local, right? If you connect the D-snake, you have to go and make some adjustments inside. So if you get no sound, then that may be a problem, but I just make you aware of that. That is, when you're on this first section of the touchscreen, is where it says source. On this mixer, you can see that the gain, can you see the gain there? Right, now there are 2 ways of doing this. You can either use this control or you touch the control that you want. Can you see there's now a yellow ring there? And you use this encoder. This is what they call the screen rotary. So this can be used to control that as well. Some people prefer to use this because it means they don't have to reach over here. And this rotary can be applied to anything. So say you're in EQ and you want to use it to control your low, you just touch there and then you can see you use the screen rotary. Right? You can also use the corresponding control over here. It just depends. Yeah. Just depends whether you prefer, because the thing is that with these knobs, obviously they do not stop. Yeah, they just turn continuously. So it's not like an analog mixer where you can see the knob position, right? With these, there's no knob position. They just go around and around. Some like the pan control, there's an indication. But on the majority of them, there isn't. Okay, so we start from over here. So if you want, you can give the channel a name. So let's call this channel Sherman. Okay, just for fun, right? Where's the
Next one.
Sherma is mixed up. Yeah, his okay. And then we just press OK lah. Right? So you can see it says Sherma there. Right? The gain by default is set halfway. Alright? And that's different to an analog board. So what you'll find is that if I use this now, you can hear that there's already some output. If you recall, the gain setting procedure for an analog mixer is that you would press PFL and then you adjust gain until your meters are where?
Zero.
Right, at 0. Now, with the digital board, you do not actually ever want to hit 0 because you'll get distortion, and digital distortion is not desirable. So what this mixer is, you see there's a signal, which means there is signal present. Then you have a 0 on this mixer is equal to -18. With the analog mixer, you have 0 and then you have plus minus, yeah? With the digital, there is no plus. Once you hit the 0, it starts distorting. So with the digital, you never want to hit 0. The PK, which stands for peak, is -3 dB below distortion. So when you set gain, you can press your PFL if you want. So you can see that the PAFL lights up here, right, on the mixers. Excuse me, on the meters, right? And then what you do is you adjust your gain until you hit the 0 here, all right? So you can either look here or you can look here. This is much more helpful because it means that you don't have to glance back and forth. If I keep going, all right, you can hear, I'll just turn this down a little bit. Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2. All right, so let's see if we can hear what it sounds like when it distorts. Check, 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 1, 2. It's quite well behaved, still sounds okay. Right, so we'll just turn this back down. Check, check, 1, 2, 1, 2. And I have found that the gain on the analog mixer translates quite well. You see that it's about 2 o'clock like that, right? So if on an analog you're used to with a 58, you set about 2 o'clock, you just set it to the same here lah. But you got to look here because the knob has no marking. So what we'll do now is you don't even have to press PAFL if you don't want. You just make sure you can even set without selecting the channel, right? So I can have something else selected and then I can just check my input. But don't go and adjust the gain, because if you adjust the gain now, I'm adjusting the gain for this channel. That's right, not this channel. So generally, first thing you do is you press select. Okay, so press select first. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Okay, so you check 1, 2 and you turn up the gain.
Check 1, check.
Yeah.
check 1,
Yeah?
check, there's nothing.
Keep going. Yeah.
Hello.
You until this just lights up.
Check 1, check.
Some more? Bola lah.
Yeah.
Never eat dinner.
Oh wait, hello.
Yeah,
Check.
some more?
Check.
Did you see it flash?
Check.
Yeah, so that's enough. That's plenty. Okay, right. So far we've covered our how to set gain. The other thing is, do you see these 2 green buttons here? Right? In order to see this screen, you need to be on the processing section. If you are on the routing section, then you won't see that screen. Routing means where do you want the signal to go, right? So it's like the output side. The processing is the input side. While we are on this screen, sometimes you want to connect 2 channels together so that they track as a pair. Can anyone think of a case where you want to do that?
Stereo keyboard.
Right, yeah, keyboards, right, very good. Anything else? What other stereo things have you learned? Right, yeah, drum overhead sometimes, okay? On this mixer, you can only link an odd and an even pair, right? So what that means is that you can link 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. You cannot link like 2 and 3, right? So the first channel in a pair must always be an odd numbered channel. So you can see here, say I want to link 19 and 20. Okay, I just punch that and then it says not link, right? Okay, so then I just press apply. There, okay, link, and you can choose what parameters you want to link lah. So sometimes you may want to link the pen, you may want to link, so whatever you want lah, right? Then you press apply, and now they track as a pair, and this is insane fun. The master in this case is 19. Yeah,
it's
but
always the odd number.
yes, correct. Yeah, I mean essentially it depends what you want to link lah. Sometimes you may choose to unlink the fader, so then you can see that they no longer track, but you are still linked in terms of gain and all that. Now let's come to high pass filter. So in order to do that, we'll go to the EQ screen. So you can see that you have a sweepable high pass filter. So what that means is that you can choose the frequency. So in order to enable it, you can either enable from here or you can enable from the touch screen. So what I'll do is check 1, 2. I'll sweep it all the way down to 20. Okay, so can you enable the high pass filter, and then you just sweep it up and we'll hear how my voice changes. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. So listen to the output. Check 1, 2. Can you hear? Yeah. So pretty soon it sounds like my manhood has been removed. check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, yeah. And this is really, really useful, right? Because it means that you can adjust the filter until it sounds good. And very often, like with the 58, I will find like singers, very often female singers, I will high pass as high as like 200. Check 1, 2. So that's 200. So you can hear that it has removed most of the bass, right? For male singers, I'll start around 100 and then work up from there. So we'll leave that. Now can you see that the little screen is showing you what you're doing? So like for example, if I twiddle this, you see the line moves. And this again is real good because it shows you graphically what you are achieving by the use of your EQ controls. So we have low, mid, and high. Alright? You also have a bypass switch to compare the EQ'd and un-EQ'd signals. So I will demonstrate here, then we'll get different people to fiddle. So this is what you know, plus minus, right? So check 1, 2, more bass, right? Can you see that, right? Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, less bass. Now, you also have frequency. So this is going higher. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, it's interesting that, can you see I have swept it up to 9K? So what that means is that you can actually sweep this anywhere in the audio spectrum. So it says low, but you can use it as a high if you want. Okay? Yeah. So again, it's like really useful. The other thing is you have a width. Now you watch the curve, right? So we have broader, okay, very, very broad, or we have narrower. Okay, so typically you can see that it gives you an indication there. So normal, I believe, is 3/4. 3/4 means 3/4 octave wide. All right, and the advantage of this is that if you are, say, fighting feedback, right? You want a real narrow, because you don't want to suck all the life out of your signal. But if you want to do more, like general stuff, then you set it a bit wider, right? You tune to taste. You want to come and do the low mid, just see what. Yeah, just adjust something. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and they give you different colors as well. Okay, cool. Someone else do high mid, please. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Woohoo! Okay. Okay. Someone else do high? Oh boy, this is gonna be
very irritating.
Everyone's gonna be. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. You're doing high mid. You wanna do high? Okay. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Check 1, 2. Whew. Okay, so you can see that here we've created some kind of horrible mess. And by pressing this one, you can immediately bypass what you have done, and you just hear the un-EQ'd sound, right? So this is the EQ in, this is the EQ out, and you can hear whether what you're doing is improving things or making everything horrible, okay? Do you see that here you have copy, paste and reset? So this allows you to copy from one channel to anything. Let's say that you want to copy channel 20 to channel 22. Both of these are vocalists, right? And you want to copy it over. What you do is you hold down the copy key, alright, and then you press the channel that you want to copy. So press, okay? Now, can you see it says here, copy 20? Copy channel 20. So it's very much like on your laptop, you press Control C, right? So now if you want to paste it to say 22, you hold down paste and you press the channel that you want to copy it to. So let's say we want to copy it to 22, right? Sorry. Paste it to 22. So if we check 22, right? You'll see that the EQ is now the same. Everything is the same, right? And this will save a lot of time. Just remember what you are copying and pasting. The other nice thing is that if you decide you don't want any of this, you can immediately reset the channel. So I hold down reset, I'm going to hold down reset, and I'm going to press this one to wipe the channel settings, okay? Right, so now we're back to normal. Yeah. And you will notice that it has reset certain things. It has reset the EQ, but the gain is still where we left it. Okay.
Is there a Control Z? Is there a undo?
There is no undo. Sorry. Yeah. That would be really nice, wouldn't it? Yeah.
She just got real.
Yeah. The problem with undo is that you don't know. Often you don't know what you are undoing. So yeah.
No, but
Okay.
if there's a lot.
Any questions?